Okay. Sweet. All right. Actually, you're. I'm gonna just make this stupid McDonald's video. After I drink some beer. This thing's hot. Bayebesu? Bouillabaisse. I don't give a shit. How's this looking? Alright, it's hot as shit outside. I just failed a Japanese test, so I eat some more McDonald's. The other Kiki's delivery service burger is a bouillabaisse style shrimp burger. I just looked at bouillabaisse as apparently a fish soup. Also, all these burgers are like Europe themed. I didn't watch Kiki. Got some spicy looking sauce there. Oh crap. Pretty similar to the regular shrimp burger. This one has like a sweet and sour sauce. I might prefer the regular one more. It's definitely interesting. I also got this like lychee drink. Blue. Pretty good. Yeah. I can't believe a minute is too short. Alright. What am I gonna watch while I do this? Oh. Let's do my usual. I remember I was watching a video recently. Not either. Oh yeah, it was.
We do a scallop dish. Scallop, cabbage.
Fuck.
It's gonna be like 3-4 hour service. It's gonna be beautiful. My friend Chris Lim and Laurent Tourandel show me menu for
Actually, no.
us. The bone there is not straight. It's a little bit curved, you know. We have a technique to remove the fillet. Bouillon for sauce, okay? I mean, what I don't like, I don't do. What I don't like to eat, I don't put on the menu. What I don't like to do, I don't do it. When I decide to open my restaurant, I decide to do what I love. Everything I serve for my customer is everything I like to eat. So Deron is gonna finish the langoustine when I'm gonna start to do some meat butchery. So guys, we have the venison rack. We're gonna have this venison on the menu for a couple more days. And after we're gonna switch with the beef. Beautiful piece of meat. We're gonna put this one in a marinade for a couple days. And after we're gonna serve to the customer. So we have a beautiful poulard. Very difficult to find in America with the head on. We remove the legs, we remove the head, and normally we let the breast to dry a little bit for 1 day. And we're gonna stuff the breast. It's a 2-day process. Every morning we have a Charlie, Ayako. They're here around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. They start to make the big prep. Here she prepped for the poulard. She's removing all the nerve because after we're gonna stuff the breast. So we're gonna roll the poulard. She put the chicken in a brine before, so it's very important to tight correctly. This is Charlie. We worked together for many years.
The thing I like about Chef, everyone is on the same level, and you barely find that anywhere.
So this is our last big project.
Here I have a pot full of boiling water, and the objective is to open the pores. And we have a timer here, and they're going to go for 1 minute, 15 seconds.
My friend Chris Lim and Laurent Tourandel showed me many years ago this technique for the duck. No one was good like this one. I'm honest to say it was not my recipe. They showed me that.
We're going to drain all that hot water out of there. I'm going to let them rest for a second. So here we're going to just trim off the excess fat. So inside here you see the carcass, we have all this left over. So this here has to come out, because this will spoil before anything. So over here is the special spice. That main ingredient is tea. It's Earl Grey tea, so it's the bergamot that we have in this mixture. So now it gets dusted just like this.
And actually the mix of the spices come from my Chinese friend Chris Lim and Laurent Tourandel also. Basically with dry edge, you know, this duck.
So these are the ducks that just came in today. They're gonna sit here for a minimum of 4 days. So these been sitting for 6 days now. It's really important you wipe all the spice off because this will get bitter when you sear the duck. So this helps the rendering. We go a little under the here because here there's always a little more fat. Then we cut it off like that. Now this is ready for service.
Okay guys, it's 2:30 to 4. We adjust all the mise en place, and here we're gonna do the cheese soufflé. The first step, we do the panade. We put the milk, the butter, so we're gonna boil the milk and butter, okay? After that, we're gonna add the flour. So the cheese soufflé is one of the more complicated and technical things we do every day. It looks so simple, but you don't see the technique
This is a
behind.
DGen stream. I'm
What I
tipsy
do,
now.
I take
failed
my
a
finger,
Japanese test.
and when you
just eat
pinch with your
McDonald's while
finger,
watching
and nothing's
a Michelin star fine
attached
dining
to your finger, this is
video.
good, okay? Here
This
we're
is the
gonna add
vibes.
the eggs. So we mix the eggs before,
Also,
okay?
I
We
uploaded
put a
the
little bit
YouTube story
chicken.
here.
We measure the seasoning, salt and pepper. After that, you put your egg white. And here you mix very well. And now we're gonna add the cream. So we need to be careful, don't over whip. See, it's nice and shiny. There's no over whip. After, I'm gonna use the same bowl to put some panade inside. After that, we add the panade. And here, as soon as you add the cream, you stop. It looks easy when I make it, because I make it for many years. Why I put this cheese soufflé on the menu? Because people love French onion soup. And this French onion soup is cheese, caramelized, and onion flavor. Tonight, we're gonna serve this cheese soufflé caramelized. We steam the cheese soufflé, but we caramelize under the salamander. And we just serve this cheese soufflé caramelized on the plate with no sauce, no jus. And we have this onion, caramelized onion, jus, come on the side, and the captain will put all the jus around. So this is a piece of Wagyu, Snake River, Gold Label, Cap. When we work on a new dish, it takes us 2-3 weeks. and after we remove what is not necessary, you know. So we're gonna sear this one with some delicatesse, because if you sear too much, it's no good for the meat, you know. So this is for the new dish. We're gonna go live probably end of the week or beginning of next week, okay? We want to do a beef here. When you come to eat here, you need to remember the beef you will eat. The best beef cut for me, the beef cap from Snake River, American Wagyu. So we decide to put the beef cap on the menu. Here we have the beautiful piece of beef. Here we have some candle pasta with eggplant miso inside, okay? So we put a little bit mashed potato on the plate. Here we're gonna put some black garlic aioli. This one is a red porto. We're gonna put this beautiful piece of Wagyu. We're gonna put this pepper sauce with some sake. The captain will drop the sauce a little bit on the top. I mean, the piece of the beef is fantastic. The real question is what we can remove to be more essential. Maybe the red pork.
The red part will.
Yeah, the red pork is not necessary. Look, the idea about behind this is steak au poivre. Everybody knows steak au poivre. This is a steak au poivre, but from Essential by Christophe. So we are 30 minutes just before the service, and we start to sear some duck breast. We don't pre-cook the duck, but we cook very, very slowly, and we start with a cold pan to remove all the fat.
You want to start on a cold pan, and then the fat will render, and you pour out the fat, and then you take another cold pan, and you repeat it again and again and again.
If we rush the cooking process for the duck, it is not correct, and the duck has no time to rest. Everybody's ready for the service. It's gonna be like 3-4 hour service. It's gonna be beautiful. This is all what we do all day. Now it's like a show. Ordering one langoustine à la carte, one langoustine menu, followed by Dover sole and duck. So Dover sole is exclusive fish. We call this one au plat. I think why this restaurant is busy every single night, because we do what the people like also. They recognize that. They love this type of fish. In the end, you have the beautiful poulard with a crispy skin, with some black truffle, and you have the fantastic albufara sauce and the mashed potato. So the black bass, I mean, I love this fish because it's local, it's wild also. It's one of my signature dish for many years, and this dish is me, you know. Everything I love is very flavorful, and I put some reza clams with this. This dish is from day one on the menu, and we cannot remove. First, langoustine à la carte, let's go. In France, we have a classic langoustine mayonnaise. So it's a warm langoustine, just lightly cooked, with mayonnaise on the side, arugula, and pepperad in the middle. Essential is the philosophy of the whole restaurant, the philosophy how we cook. But I focus on the quality of ingredients and on the execution. This is very, very important for me. I mean, if you see my food today, it's way more simple than 15 years ago. And we try to, every day, to go to the essential in the dish. Basically, essential is to remove what is not necessary.
The barbecue here in Fort Worth was kind of styled after Austin style barbecues, but then it's morphed a little bit. I think what you see a lot is people putting their backgrounds into it, whatever ethnic heritage, kind of bringing what you had at your childhood to the table and mixing that with the Texas style barbecue. And what we do is a Tex-Mex flavor. We've got Sammy here trimming briskets. Sammy comes in 3 days a week for us, sometimes 4 days a week, and he's a trimming machine. He'll trim about anywhere from 265 to 300 briskets a week. Pretty aggressive on our trim, and then we use all this trim in-house for other dishes. We do all beef sausages. We also do our brisket guisada and our brisket smash burgers with all this trim. He's usually got a helper too, but we're in transition. So if you guys are handy with a knife, We are looking. Our goal with this trim right here is to try to get the best slice out of every single slice of brisket. We could be a lot less aggressive, but our goal is to have that brisket cook as evenly all the way through and get the best slice out of one end to the other. So these things are all trimmed up. Now it's time to season them. Eric touches every brisket that goes through our restaurant. He is really strict on what passes through here. But we're gonna put a little binder on here. The binder is just yellow mustard cut down with a little pickle juice. People ask why pickle juice? Well, because we have a ton of it from pickles sitting around. Our seasoning starts with a really heavy dose of coarse black pepper, 16 mesh pepper. We'll follow that up with some kosher salt. It's about a 60 to 40 mix. After the pepper and salt, we put on a good dose of our in-house made brisket rub. It's 6 ingredients, but what we do with that is we can tweak it to the flavor profile that we like. We always like a Tex-Mex spin on everything we do, so we do put a little bit of heat in that, but it's just a different twang. It's 6 ingredients that you can find in your pantry at home. Nothing exotic, nothing special. These briskets don't go on until tomorrow, so we always find that seasoning the day before makes that extra flavor difference. We're not trying to hide anything. We want every single slice to be the best slice that we can serve. That's why we pay so much attention to it. Ernie and I started this back loosely around 2014. We both worked together. He was actually one of my technicians. We worked for an audio-visual company. Ernie and his cousins got in a competition barbecue, and eventually they would ask me to come along if I wanted to come join them, and the story was the same every time. We partied a little too much, got a little too drunk, and didn't turn anything in and burned it up. But when I went out to cook with them, being a project manager, my mind was to put together a timeline and actually turn something in, and then we could have a good time. So first time out all together that we did the competition, we hit Reserve Grand Champion. So we were hooked at that point, and then the barbecue just took off.
I know these briskets are ready to wrap, so whenever I'm wrapping, I normally look for how the bark looks and also how the fat is. If that fat's real squishy, then it's ready. There's times where a few of the briskets are lagging a little bit, like this one where you kind of push in and it's a little bouncy. But with how long we cook it, that fat's gonna render anyway, so I'm not really too worried about it.
He hits it with a little margin, a little more of our homemade brisket rub, and then he throws it back on for probably another couple hours.
We do take a few of the tips and tricks from our competition world to mix in that flavor explosion, that wow, but leave it subtle enough to where you can actually enjoy a whole plate of it if that's what you choose. One of the tricks is a liquid margarine that we use. Right now, a big thing is using liquid tallow, but for us, the liquid margarine just brings a whole nother different flavor. And then one of the things we did in competition was actually re-season our brisket during our wrap process. So we take the liquid margarine for a flavor and moisture booster, and then we re-season our brisket with our in-house made brisket rub to give it one last pop. Because such a long cook, a lot of those seasonings actually do cook off and burn off. So we'll actually apply another layer during our wrap.
It's like everyone uses the same concept, but everyone has their own little finishing touches that they do.
We really try to buck the trends and pay more attention to what the final outcome is instead of what everybody's doing.
So here's our pork butts. We don't really do anything special with our pork butts. We just spray them with the apple cider vinegar and just wrap them. The foil cooks them faster because it's just a big ball of meat.
Bark's not as important for us on the pork because the paper is permeable. It lets some of that steam escape, so it's still what we call the Texas crunch. It still steams the brisket on the butcher paper, but allows some of that steam to escape to create a good bark, and it's still a crunchy bark. On the pork butt, we've already got that set in. It's not as important to us. We're pulling it apart. We're not doing the perfect slices. As far as volume, we probably do 12-to-1 brisket to pork butt, you know. Yeah, it's just where we're at. They want the brisket. They want it. These foil wrap briskets for our other shop. So these get a little bit different rub, not the fancy stuff. We're not giving it the margarine treatment, the old competition style trick and that twang. It's more of an old school taste and old school flavor, just basic salt and pepper and a little smoke on it. We recently just purchased a second barbecue location. We weren't looking to open up a second Panther City, but it kind of fell into our laps where this barbecue restaurant that has been around in Fort Worth since 1931 came up for sale. We really wanted to preserve the building and the barbecue and the history of that in Fort Worth. So we came up with a plan to keep the old school barbecue flavors and feel, and not only that, but also help keep the price point down the way it's been for years and years.
Chopped beef.
I got it.
Now you're not gonna get 1931 prices, but we will keep it cheaper than what you see on the craft barbecue menu. A lot of the things that separate new school and old school are, for one, the cuts of meat. You know, right now everybody's using a prime meat. It's expensive and it's driven the price up. And in the old school, using cheaper cuts of meat. The processes, the sauces, the seasonings, keeping it simple to getting complex. Here at Panther City Barbecue, we use a prime brisket. For downtown, we use a choice brisket, different fat content, so we want to break that down a little bit differently. So we use the foil just to tenderize it up a little bit more. There is a different audience for old school barbecue. Some people really don't like craft barbecue because they want the older school flavors. So we're trying to be mindful of that since we have 2 locations within close proximity. All right, so we'll check this last rack on here for the other location. This one was a little bit stubborn, so it stayed back, but it looks like we got some good pull on that sucker. We're gonna take this over to the other location and get them put in the warmer and get them ready for service. All right, here's your last rack for the day.
All right, man.
This business, what was known as Bailey's Barbecue, has been in Fort Worth since 1931. So you'll be able to see the building. It's like stepping into a time capsule. It's still old school. We want to keep that feel. We did rebrand the name as Fort Worth Barbecue Company. We wanted it simple, but we wanted it about Fort Worth, not about us. Right now, everything as you see it is as we bought the building out. We're stepping back into the 30s when we walk back in here. You actually have the smoke from years and years and years accumulated on the walls. There's actually a pretty interesting story back here. I asked the previous owners what's going on with this door right here. And the way it was explained to me that this door was actually had a sign above it that said Negro serving door. It was an alleyway. So as late as mid-1960s, any African American had to come to this door and was not allowed in the building. So we're actually talking to a group right now to donate it to a museum that's gonna go here in town about African American history. In our eyes, kind of symbolic, saying the door's out, everybody's welcome through the front door, but it is a piece of history that actually happened. So we wanna be able to share that with people.
I need another chop.
Chop beef.
It's extremely important for us to remember where we're at, remember where our roots are and what was here before us. Old school barbecue gets a knock. You know, people say it's not so good anymore. It's no good, the flavors, the quality. You have to know what you're going for. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those guys, the old school styles of cooking. They were taking cheap cuts of meat and making it edible, and that's where it started, preserving meat by smoking it. There was a reason for it. It came out of necessity. And we need to remember that. So it's really important for us to kind of preserve that history. And so we want to pay homage to that through our food and our processes. So the brisket elote is a dish that we do that kind of happened by accident. Back in the food truck days, we had a customer, one of the bar patrons walked up and asked if we had lodies. We're like, what are lodies? He said, you know, lodies, corn in a cup. We're like, elotes. So we actually doctored up a cup of cream corn to mimic a cup of elote, and the guy liked it, and Ernie just one day said, let's put some brisket on it. It's not a traditional elote or esquite, but it's just a morph of our cream corn base with chopped brisket on it, queso fresco, cilantro, lime, hot sauce, and a jalapeno on top, but it's become one of our most popular dishes. This is Angel Rodriguez. Angel is Ernie's younger son. We've got a ton of brisket scrap. So what Angel's doing is grinding that scrap down here, getting ready for sausage making. So we make all of our sausages in-house. Angel will grind this stuff down, mix it with some fat content, season it up, and then he'll get ready to stuff our 2 in-house blends, which are a jalapeno cheese and a beef garlic sausage.
I add water just to make a slurry. Since it's all powder, it really won't mix as well, just to make sure I mix it like thoroughly and evenly.
It kind of works across the board for our customers. Our 1 jalapeno cheese blend, it's a really, really spicy sausage. So we use a high temp cheddar and a high temp pepper jack, so 2 different cheeses. And then we use dehydrated jalapeno. Fresh jalapeno for us sometimes releases the oil, and then your heat goes all over the place, sometimes hot, sometimes not. Yeah, so Angel's linked up these jalapeno cheese links. He's gonna go ahead and get them in cold storage in the walk-in, and then we'll hold these for a while, let them dry out. We'll end up cold smoking them, give them a good ice bath, and then they'll be ready for service at that point.
Yeah, all I do to know when the pork butts are ready is if they go in like butter. Man, like no resistance at all. They just go straight through.
It's about 8 a.m. on Wednesday, which is our first day of service for the week. So getting the week started, Eric just pulled off a batch of ribs.
I just pulled the ribs off, and I have a little bit of honey mixed in this barbecue sauce. And we're just gonna reglaze the ribs, make it saucy again.
The little honey and glaze is something I throw back to our competition style. It's just a really sweet bite, a really pop on it. So we like to put that into the ribs here. A little bit different than a traditional cook, whereas our downtown location, more of a just salt and pepper and no sauce. We like that more of an old school, just a kiss of smoke. Once they rest, they'll tack up so they're not just dripping with sauce. And it's just a really sweet, sweet bite.
David!
It's Wednesday, just after 11 o'clock. We've got service pumping, full line out the door right now. Got Christian, who happens to be my son, on the cut block. But you've got the whole team here serving it up. So Eric's here on some sides. We've got the griddle going, tacos and burgers, just everyday barbecue life. That's what we got going on right here. On any given day, we may go through 60, 70 burgers in the lunch service. We keep it a simple burger. It's 2 smashed patties, special sauce on there, pickle and onion, cheese. Very, very simple. It's just an enjoyable burger. I think the mission statement is just to bring people together. That's why we do it. And you know, you hear it a lot, but it really is seeing people happy when they eat. Trying to blow somebody's mind with the flavors you put out there. When we look around and see people sitting at the table and seeing them nod and shake their head and a smile on their face, but bringing groups of people together, that's really what it's about.
Estamos en Carnitas Uruapan, en el barrio de Pilsen. Yo empecé con mi papá a enseñarme a preparar carnitas porque yo no me gustaba ir a la escuela. Desde los 8 o 10 años me empezó a enseñar. Y desde ahí pues le seguí, hasta que seguí toda mi vida haciendo carnitas. Mi hijo está siguiendo la misma tradición que yo aprendí con mis padres. Pero retirarme, no. Pues cómo me voy a retirar si soy bien feliz aquí con mis clientes, hablando con las personas, haciendo mis carnitas, conviviendo con las personas que tengo muchos años conviviendo, que ellos estaban chicos cuando vinieron, ahora ya están grandes y me buscan. Esa es mi mejor alegría.
Carnitas is like reaching pork heaven. First of all, they are simmered in fat. Like in French, you would call it confit. They're simmered for hours. When done right, it's both juicy, crispy, crunchy, all at the same time. Ooh.
Your carnitas have arrived.
Looking good.
Fiesta.
Yes, exactly.
Tenemos carnitas, shoulder,
Yeah.
costilla, cuero y buche y hungry.
Let's eat.
Hey, hambre. So get a little bit of the skin, cueritos,
Cueritos,
a little bit of the
costillitas.
shoulder in there.
Yeah. But I love the jelly part. Like that's
Yeah.
sort of what gives the texture. So
That fattiness, that's
The
there's a
fatness,
lot of
exactly.
flavor, yeah. And a little bit of the ribs.
I don't think you can eat better than this. Honestly.
See, you're digging right in with your
How can
hands.
you eat?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like this salsa with it.
Yeah.
This salsa has a lot of jalapenos with the vinegar in it. So some of that, the acidity of the salsa cuts right through some of the fattiness
Yeah.
of the pork. Just juicy.
It's so beautiful. The way the meat is prepared, not a ton of sauce. It's the meat. All the labor in the meat is there. I love it. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I have to ask. We eat authentic Mexican food today because of people like your father. So when he hears that in this climate, that on national TV, that Mexicans immigrants are bad, or how does it must feel so bad for him.
Pues escucha, nosotros venimos a trabajar, a ser positivos, a trabajar a Estados Unidos. ahora nos tienen en otra forma, como que no somos buenas personas. Pero yo siento que este país está compuesto por inmigrantes, como todos.
Yeah.
You know, at times we're not portrayed that way, and it's, you know, the focus is shifting and looking at us in a different lens. But, you know, we're here.
Contributing, amazing.
Contributing, yeah.
Importante, en el área que tú estés, trata bien las personas, te van a tratar bien las personas. Como tú quieras que te traten, trata a las personas. No veas color, no distingas nada. Todos somos iguales.
It's like, especially for your business owners, like that energy that you put out is exactly what comes right back.
El color de la sangre de todos es roja.
That's a whole episode. Oh, god damn, boy. That's pretty far west side. Till I have time to go over there. Oh, alright. Watch Twitch while streaming Twitch. Haha.
Instead, so that's for World's Edge. But yeah, obviously we're going back to Storm Point now, so they bring the back.
さあ、ジェンジーがマッチポイント。追いかけるシークレットではありますが、今回も瓦礫取りからスタートしています。ただ、思い切った配置。本体は手前。本トが入って位置がバレた。手ぐしゃがつる。ただ、そこにはオーバードライブで駆けつかったジェレミーですが、ラキアのダブルキルで。
I feel a little on the fence about dunking a whole sandwich in sauce, but we'll see. Maybe I can be converted. I'm in Chicago at Al's #1 Italian beef. Today I'm gonna be working here. I'm gonna be making a sandwich. I'm gonna be roasting the beef. I'm gonna be slicing the beef. I might dunk a sandwich in jus. I'm gonna be making giardiniera. I'm doing it all. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Cody, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Good, good.
What should I know about the restaurant, about the sandwich? Like,
My uncle, Al, which the place is named after he got out of stay in jail for a while, they opened up this beef stand. It was a front for a bookie place.
You guys still have any of that old spirit going on here? Or?
Oh, not no more.
What does it take to get on the wall?
A letter.
All right.
They're obviously famous people, as you see, Muhammad Ali, mayors,
Pretty
my
important
parents.
people to
Yeah.
get on the wall. All right, I'm ready to start. Let's do it.
This is the first thing we're gonna do. We use a top sirloin butt. We got 2 pieces here. They're roughly about 15 pounds each.
right.
And I have a spice pack that's created by my grandfather back in 1917. And we still continue the same recipe.
Can you tell me what's in it?
No.
7?
Any of
No,
it?
no wonder I'm fucked up from this.
So I got
Jesus
this.
Christ.
Oh!
Like double unit.
So you can see the seasoning pack here.
Oh.
Can I guess a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
Fennel.
There's a
Cumin.
lot of stuff in there.
Coriander.
There's 17 different spices.
Mustard
You're
seed.
gonna have a good time guessing.
Paprika. Celery seed. Bay leaf, probably.
What we're gonna do, Cody, is introduce the tarpan.
All right, nice to meet you.
Like that.
Allspice.
I gotta put the garlic in it also. Now we're gonna get that pail of water there, and I'm gonna introduce a little bit of that to here.
Nice.
I want you to mix it in real good.
All right, I can do that. Absolutely.
Now we're
Gorgeous.
gonna introduce the meat to this. This is a top sirloin butt. The reason we use the butt is because this muscle when I cut it so thin, it's still gonna hold together.
Ah.
It won't fall apart or shred. Oscar's gonna be your trainer and your boss.
Nice. So Oscar, you've been working here for
23, 24
24 years. What's your favorite part of your boss, and what's your least favorite part of your boss?
Later part he doesn't have. He's gonna open the middle a little bit.
All right.
And then he's gonna slice it in there. It cooks through and through. Like we want it well done. Piece of meat. And he's gonna introduce it to this.
Nice. Right here? Just like in the middle like this?
Yep.
Cool.
Right there. There you go.
Yeah?
Good.
Fat side down?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Give it a little flip. There you go.
The total cooking time is 3.5 hours. So
Does that
we're gonna
feel
add
good?
a little more water now.
All right, cool. And that's it.
That's it. And we set it at 450. So we're done with this process. This has been cooking for 3.5 hours now.
3.5
Cody.
hours, all right.
And what we're gonna do, he's gonna pull out a piece. Now I don't want you to get burned, so keep an eye on Oscar how he does it, and then you're gonna turn it around and introduce it to that. All right, Cody, now
right.
it's your turn.
Give it a good stab.
Give it a good stab
All
in
right.
there, grab
And
it.
stab
you know,
on this
so
side here. There you go.
if you drop it, you get a deduction in pay.
All right. How much are you paying me again?
It's not too much.
Too much, yeah. I did get myself on the thing, so there you go. Pretty good.
Right? Yeah, I know. It's hot.
Yeah, I know.
Then we're gonna take the pan and we're gonna strain it. It's a little heavy now.
Yeah.
Be careful.
There you go.
Got it. It's not only heavy, but it's hot.
Heavy and hot. Just like me. All right. Should we
Go right in there.
Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Everything.
Not
Every
so
little
bad.
bit.
It smells nice. So there's like, I'm seeing mustard seeds. Is there fennel, cumin, maybe? I'm gonna learn all their secret spices here.
This is gonna be cooled down, and then when it gets down to like a room temperature, we're gonna put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours.
Cool. So the beef's been in for 24 hours?
24 hours
All right.
now. It gets down to about 38 degrees, which is slicing temperature.
Nice.
See, it's a little heavy.
That's all right. All right. Got the beef. So this looks a lot different than when we pulled it out.
You'll feel it's
really,
hard. Yes, it's hard. So we can trim.
Yeah.
You don't want to trim it when it's soft. You
Right,
start
it's like
digging into
wiggling
the
around.
meat,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a little rougher.
All right, cool.
So we're gonna get rid of all the fat and nerve. Anything that you think you would see the nerve.
Yeah,
right
you
there.
don't want that. So at work, I sometimes, depending on what I work, will butcher, whole lambs and pork loins.
So you're experienced with meat.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
a little
okay,
bit.
Good.
Yeah.
So I wonder why you're coming on so good.
So this is the engine
This
of the
slice is
restaurant.
probably about 70 years old. I call it my Frankenstein because we keep putting it back together.
Keep working
again.
on it. It looks kind of like a torture device.
Yeah, it is if you got to work with it all day. Oscar's going to show you how this mechanism works.
Great.
It's going to come out with small pieces at first. Another way we like to test it, you put it on your tongue. And if the juice of your tongue goes through it, you know it's whoops. See what I'm talking about?